monsoon. It's the time of year we see the weather wreak havoc across southern Arizona. For the next 3 months, we'll see flooding, dust storms, and extreme heat. Tonight, we bring you team coverage to prepare you for what's ahead to keep you and your loved ones safe.
This is a KOLD First Alert special presentation, Mastering the Monsoon. Sponsored by Desert Diamond Casinos and Entertainment.
The dry conditions we know about the desert completely change during the monsoon. It lasts 3 months, from June 15th until September 30th.
Which could be dangerous. And here's why. Winds normally flow west to east, but during the monsoon, that changes. Instead, we see the flow forming from the Gulf of Mexico travel north-northwest around high pressure and back east. The first thing we see leading up to and throughout the monsoon is the extreme heat in our area. So hot, Arizona is considered one of the hottest places on Earth. We have seen temperatures as high as 117 degrees in Tucson. This is due to the high pressure overhead, which is like a dome of hot air that sits right on top of us. There have been more than 1,000 heat-related deaths in just the last 10 years in Arizona. So when the hot air arrives, limit your time outdoors as much as possible, and of course, stay hydrated. If you are outside, wear lightweight, light-colored clothing. Hats or umbrellas to shield the sun help, and don't forget to wear sunscreen, of course. And experts say slow down. Avoid any strenuous activity until the coolest part of the day, which is early in the morning.
The Sabino Canyon Recreational Area is a popular place for hikers. It's also notorious for hiker rescues. One of the big reasons for that, the triple-digit heat. It's why they have signs like this one alerting you before you hit these trails. If you ever need to be rescued, these guys, Steven Shuk and Jeremy Ramirez, head to the trails to come get you. Boots on the ground.
Most of the trails plotted on them already.
GPS on hand. They're part of the Pima County Search and Rescue Team. They do about 100 rescues during a typical monsoon. Many of those heat-related. It starts with heat cramps, then heat exhaustion. After that, you're entering the danger zone.
Heat exhaustion, we can hydrate our patients in the field usually and give them some food and some rest, and we can hike them out. If it's heat stroke, it's a more severe condition, then we have to get the helicopter more often than not because we need to get them to a hospital as quickly as possible.
Pools are up here and we never.
Before you head out, the team wants you to remember this. Don't hike during the hottest part of the day. Tell a friend where you plan to hike. Choose a trail you are physically fit enough to do. Bring enough water, and finally, keep your cell phone charged. The Sheriff's Office wants to remind you, if you don't follow these tips, you could be the next one they have to rescue. That's not only putting yourself in danger, but also deputies and volunteers. Reporting in Sabino Canyon, I'm Vicki Carr.
The less rain we have, the drier it is, and the dustier it gets. You know how you can feel a storm when it approaches? The winds crank up, the dust picks up, and you can smell the rain? Well, that's the outflow. That's the beginning stages of a dust storm. But we don't often see haboobs in southern Arizona. They actually start here in Tucson, blowing downward towards Phoenix, creating a wall of dust. Your chances of seeing that wall of dust will be more likely if you're driving on Interstate 10 between Tucson and Phoenix.
There's no way that traffic can drive through this.
It can be dangerous or even deadly if you don't act quickly. Here's what experts say you should do. Slow down, turn on your lights, and pull all the way off the paved part of the road. Once you're off the road, put your car in park, turn off all the lights, then wait it out until you can see at least 300 feet ahead of you. You may see rain after the dust storm, which is another sign the dust is gone. We've seen several deadly accidents in the dust corridor near Bocacho Peak because drivers are caught off guard by small dust storms. The Arizona Department of Transportation is working on a fix. It includes 13 cameras installed along a 10-mile stretch to keep an eye on dust storms forming. If there's dust in the area, the speed limit will automatically be reduced depending on how bad the conditions are. Sadly, the system won't be in place for this monsoon, but crews will begin working on the dust detection project this fall. The storms are rolling in and leaving parts of southern Arizona underwater in just seconds. We'll tell you why that happens and what roads to avoid when it does.
You're watching Mastering the Monsoon. Sponsored by Desert Diamond Casinos and Entertainment.
Southern Arizona has one of the most unique deserts in the world. That's because we see more rain than any other desert. And when it rains, it floods. Take a look at what happened last year. In just minutes, Reddington Pass flooded, leaving 17 hikers stranded. Luckily, they were all rescued safely, but that's not always the case in flash flooding. We see up to half of our annual rainfall in just these 3 months. So when there's a storm coming, plan ahead and be prepared to wait it out.
Off this long hallway in downtown Tucson, Joe Kafari walks into his life-saving command center of utmost importance in Monsoon in the smallest of proportions.
We're very humble people, but we're doing it to protect the public.
A full team full of technology in this 400 square foot alert room, or automated local evaluation in real time.
And this room is where it all stems from.
And where it all leads to. As we were led to those data collection sites, this stack in Reed Park is one of more than 130 rain and stream gauges around Pima County.
When it falls into the system,
each click registering 0.04 of an inch of rain. Sensors inside send out the first warning. Data collected downtown.
They operate in real time. If our tipping buckets go off, we get an alert sensor. We can project, we can see where that storm's headed.
Potentially headed right to your home. Kafari and his team analyze it all. County and city emergency crews. They've already put up 500 barricades across Tucson, ready to block off a road as soon as the monsoon storm arrives, in what Kafari says is one of the top 10 deadliest counties in the nation for flash floods.
People just associate deserts with lack of preparation. They see a wash that runs by their home and they're going to say, it never rains here. I don't need to do anything. I don't need to protect myself.
But that protection is priority.
We want to get that message out to them in a timely and early manner.
When every stormy second counts. I'm Evan Schreiber reporting.
Barricades are up all around Pima County, but I checked the numbers to find that this area on the far east side has more stranded hikers and drivers than anywhere else, and it has firefighters continuing to rush in year after year.
Those mountain regions receive heavy rainfall. That rainfall comes down, and it comes down really fast.
Water from the Rincons and Catalinas both rush through washes and roads around Wentworth Road. Rural Metro crews responded near Tanque Verde and Wentworth nearly 10 times in the last 3 seasons. Battalion Chief John Waka says even more if you include the swiftwater rescues near Wentworth around Speedway.
People don't understand the power of water.
Emergency crews in Drexel Heights are keeping a close watch on drainage in their district. Not just right here, but all along State Route 86, where there is so much construction, it's not just changing traffic patterns, but also the way water flows.
We knew that it was going to get bad before it got better, and that's the case.
Twice as many calls, 5 in 2016, 10 last year. Most are right around this one intersection of State Route 86 and Camino Verde. Drexel Heights Fire Station is right beside it.
All the way up to our station's bay doors.
Tracy Kozlowski says ADOT has been great about updates on the project. It's lifting the road, reworking drainage to help during monsoon storms. The hope is that it'll be better this year.
We're keeping our fingers crossed that this year is better, that those numbers go down.
First responders around Pima County would rather you not need them to rescue you at all. I'm Craig Reck reporting.
It doesn't take long for floodwaters to rise. Before you know it, you could find yourself stranded in a wash like this one.
Every season, someone accidentally drives into a wash.
Tucson Fire Captain Jamie Szyminski says it happens up to 12 times each monsoon. It takes just a few inches of water to move you or a car. So these crews step up training this time of year, practicing with tools that can save your life when trapped.
And we have no other way to get to them other than ladder trucks.
With this truck, firefighters can reach the person needing rescue.
I'm going to put this on over your head and under your arms, all right?
Throwing down a flotation device and pulling them up to safety. All necessary tools, but Szyminski says the most important tool in this stressful situation comes from you.
If they actually do get into an emergency, to stay calm, listen to the dispatches, directions, and then listen to us when we get on scene.
But you can avoid the call for help if you're ahead of the storm.
Just wait it out, and in 15 minutes that wash will be empty and you'll be able to go on your way. But it's better than risking your life.
I'm Heather Jansen reporting.
It's definitely a tornado. There's no question about that.
A Tucson touchdown, how this rare sight is indeed possible to see during the monsoon.
Sewer breaks, damaged roads, and toppled trees. We take a look back at some of the big damage left behind by last year's monsoon and how some are still recovering as this season starts.
You're watching Mastering the Monsoon. Sponsored by Desert Diamond Casinos and Entertainment.
Last year, we saw how powerful and destructive monsoon storms can be. It's something Nogales goes through nearly every year. But has anything been done to try to prevent another potential disaster this year?
Well, I guess only God knows if it's going to happen or not.
Nogales and thousands upstream in the Santa Cruz narrowly averted an environmental disaster last summer when heavy rains breached a major sewage line in Potrero Creek. It was a small breach, and environmental concerns in Tucson were eased when the state test showed the contamination was limited. A couple of $1 million later, the breach is fixed today, and the focus is on this year's storm season.
The problem is, because of the use of Mexico in it, they open their drain storms so they're in there, and storm waters come in, bringing in all kinds of debris.
The Nogales mayor is trying to get ahead of this year's storms. He showed us this: under 1 inch of water, an exposed sewage line which carries 13 million gallons of raw sewage a day, mostly from Mexico. It's only a few feet from last year's breach, and he's afraid it might rupture this year. But Nogales can't pay to fix it or to prevent it.
They wanted something like $16–20 million.
He says it's a federal, cross-border, State Department responsibility, which is being ignored.
Now, they deny responsibility, but we're not going to pick up the tab where they're supposed to be doing their due diligence.
This is where the breach happened last year, and you can see it is fixed. However, that was just a breach. If the one goes just downstream from here, that's a full-blown break, and that would create an environmental catastrophe. Along Potrero Creek, I'm Bud Foster reporting.
As another season approaches, crews are still cleaning up some of the damage left behind last year. In July, a monsoon storm hit Tucson High School's multi-million-dollar turf field, and it flooded and damaged the drainage underneath. No practices or games have taken place on the field since. Students graduated on the damaged turf in May. Tucson Unified leaders have approved more than $500,000 for a new turf, and it will be installed soon in hopes that it will be ready for the start of football season in August. A monsoon storm in early August caused part of the road up to a mountain to crumble. Because of this, cars were not allowed to go up a mountain for more than a month. Crews fixed a retaining wall and did some shoulder work in hopes it will improve the draining. That same week, a microburst blew 5 huge trees in the Woodridge apartments on the east side. 2 people were rescued from their apartment. No one was hurt. 8 people had to find a new place to live. Those trees have since been cleaned up, and one of the damaged buildings at the apartment complex was demolished. I'm Kevin Adger reporting.
You may be surprised to find out that flood damage from natural disasters, like the monsoon, is not covered by most homeowners' insurance. About 20% of the homes in Tucson sit in a known flood zone, meaning your home may be more at risk of seeing flood damage than you think. Now is the best time to check to see what your insurance covers, because even an inch of water in your home could cost tens of thousands of dollars to repair.
Microbursts are one of our biggest threats during the monsoon, and there are 2 types, wet ones with rain and dry ones. Now, we normally see wet microbursts during the monsoon. Straight line winds from these downbursts can reach up to 160 miles per hour, uprooting trees, tearing off roofs, and causing dust storms. And they happen without notice.
Most of the lightning we see all year in southern Arizona is during monsoon. We get more than 500 million strikes a year. Even though they don't seem threatening, it can be deadly. In 2016, a hiker died after being struck by lightning in Coconino County. A lightning strike is as thick as a pencil, but it's 5 times hotter than the sun.
You look at that, there's no doubt that it's a tornado. It's got that plume of dust on the ground and the tube extending all the way up.
Dan Lyons with the National Weather Service was working the night of July 14th when he noticed an unusual storm brewing east of Tucson.
This is the radar from the event.
The storm was beginning to rotate and make its way towards I-10 in Marana. With high winds and moisture, the right ingredients were in place.
The first thing that goes through your mind is, do we need to send out an alert to notify people that there's a dangerous storm moving their way?
And that's exactly what the team did.
Hey, we're interrupting your programming right now. We have a tornado warning. This was just issued seconds ago by the National Weather Service.
About a half hour later,
this appears to be a funnel cloud.
A lot of calls, a lot of photos on social media.
One of those videos was from Audria Abney. She thought it was a dust devil.
I kind of laughed at the warning. Like a tornado in Arizona? Yeah, right.
But thanks to Abney's video and others like it, experts were able to confirm it was in fact a weak EF0 landspout tornado.
To actually see something like this occur was, it was fascinating. Still a great example of how variable the weather could be here in southern Arizona. I mean, you could have a quiet day turn busy to that, in just a matter of 45 minutes or an hour.
This is the field where that tornado was spotted last summer. Luckily, it was small, so there was no damage left behind.
Had it occurred somewhere else, it could have been a totally different story.
And because Arizona gets about 3 to 4 tornadoes each year, you want to be prepared.
Probably have a plan in place to say, okay, I'm going to go to the most inside room of my house.
I'm Angelica Carrillo reporting.
It's more than the sound of thunder that you need to watch out for this season. The critters that you may see near your home this monsoon that you need to avoid.
We have what you've been waiting for. I'll give you a look at what to expect this season with my monsoon forecast.
You're watching Mastering the Monsoon. Sponsored by Desert Diamond Casinos and Entertainment.
So this is what takes place during the monsoon. First, we have June. That's when we just get extreme heat. Lots of radiation from the sun, just not a lot of moisture. Now what changes up in July is we start to see some moisture increasing in the forecast. And then we have lift due to the hot temperatures. And then bam, we get monsoon storms that take place for the month of July, August, and September. The numbers are in, and it looks like we will see above average rain totals for this monsoon season. First, we have July. Our average rain totals, just about 2.25 inches of rain, and it looks like we'll begin with above average totals, which is very exciting. Then we have August. Now August, we get an average rain total of about 2.39 inches of rain, and it looks like we will remain right at average, which I like. I'd rather have that than below average conditions. Finally, we have September. On average, we see about 1.6 inches of rain falling in the end of the month here, and it looks like we will remain above average.
Monsoon rain. It gets most of us very excited this time of year. How much do we normally see? Well, in Yuma, for the monsoon season, just a little over about an inch of rain. Sky Harbor, 2.5 inches or so. And for us here in Tucson, just about 6 inches of rain. Now, as we take a look across the board and across southern Arizona, Ajo, again, 6 inches or so. Phoenix, 2.5. Eloy, 3.5 inches over that for you. Wilcox, take a look at that, 6.5 inches over 8.5 Sierra Vista. Nogales, over 10.5 inches. And Douglas will probably see over 8 inches of rain. This is over just about a 3-month period, so we can expect lots of it, almost half our annual rainfall, just a short period of time.
If you're out and about this monsoon season, odds are you'll come into contact with some critters. Now, some are fairly harmless, but there are some that you're definitely going to want to watch out for. It's a sound no one wants to hear up close, and one that's more common during the season.
We're doing calls every single night picking up rattlesnakes.
Jeff Carver, one of the owners of Arizona Animal Experts, says they may be slithering closer to your home too.
Because that concrete, our sidewalks, our patios, porches, has heated up the concrete during the day. And so they find that as a nice cozy place to get them through that chilly, rainy spot.
In the rainy spots and puddles is a critter that may look and sound a little less threatening.
They are actually responsible for more deaths every year than rattlesnakes.
The toxins in a Colorado river toad can kill animals or even humans if consumed.
When they get stressed out, they secrete a toxin out these nodules behind their head or behind their eyes and on their back legs.
If a dog comes into contact with the toxins, Carver says rinse out the mouth immediately and go see a vet. As for us,
it's all right to pick them up, take them outside the yard and put them out where the dog can't get to them, and then just wash your hands.
I'm Janice Yu reporting.
We also need to keep our pets safe from the storms. The Humane Society of Southern Arizona recommends bringing your pets inside to protect them from lightning, heavy winds, and flooding. If you're taking your dog for a walk, stay away from washes to keep your dog from being swept away. The HSSA recommends you stay with your pet during storms to comfort them, and turning on a TV or radio to distract them from outside noises.
Now that you know what to expect for this year's monsoon, we take it from here. Around the clock, our team will keep you ahead of the storms with our First Alert Action Days. When we see a big change in the weather, we will declare an action day and alert you on air, on our website, and on our app. Then, tune into our forecast for a detailed breakdown of what exactly we will see, when, and how long.
On Action Days, we have team coverage to track what we're seeing across Southern Arizona. We hope you stay safe this season and enjoy the uniqueness that our desert has to offer. We thank you for joining us for Mastering the Monsoon.
This has been a KOLD First Alert special presentation, Mastering the Monsoon. Sponsored by Desert Diamond Casinos and Entertainment.